You might be asking yourself right now, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just enjoy a simple gathering anymore? Why do the conversations of people I have known for years suddenly sound like a completely foreign language? Hear this truth, and let it settle deep into your bones. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not losing your mind. You are experiencing the profound, undeniable gravity of an internal shift when you begin the true, quiet work of self-awareness, when you actually dare to sit with your own shadows, when you start healing the emotional scars and the quiet wounds you spent a lifetime ignoring. Your entire internal architecture changes. You are no longer the same structure. You are carving out deep, echoing canyons of emotional intelligence and profound realization inside of yourself. And when you possess that kind of vast internal depth, you can no longer comfortably stand in the shallow, stagnant waters of superficial reality. Think back to what used to hold your attention. The casual gossip, the endless loop of complaints about the weather, the job, the neighbors, the mundane details that served as the glue holding your social circles together. That was a shared frequency of distraction. But distraction requires a subconscious desire to escape yourself. And you are no longer running away. You have finally come home to yourself. Because of this return to yourself, your core values have fundamentally transformed. When your focus shifts toward truth, toward inner peace, and toward radical, unfiltered authenticity, your threshold for the superficial completely disappears. It evaporates. This is not just a mental preference. It is a somatic, physical reality. Your nervous system is now wired differently, and it begins to actively reject inauthenticity. When you sit across from someone who is engaging in petty drama or endlessly looping in a mentality they refuse to heal, you do not just find it mildly boring. You feel it. You feel it as a heavy, dragging, suffocating weight. It physically drains the life force from your body. The words they speak feel like static noise on a radio that is desperately, painfully trying to find a clear station. You sit there, completely drained, realizing that the energy required to simply pretend to be interested is too high a price to pay. You used to wear a mask to survive these interactions. You know the exact mask. The forced smile, the automatic, rhythmic nodding, the hollow, polite laughter you offered just to keep the peace and blend in. Before your shift, you wore this mask effortlessly. It was a survival mechanism. But now, putting on that mask feels like putting your hand on a hot stove. It burns. Your soul outright refuses to perform anymore. And here is where the creeping shadows of guilt try to pull you back down. The mind will try to tell you that you are acting arrogant. You might wonder, am I judging them? Am I being superior? Listen very closely to this. This is not about superiority. It is about energetic alignment. A grand piano is not superior to a snare drum, but they play entirely different roles, and they exist on entirely different resonant frequencies. You have spent your quiet hours tuning your instrument. You have tightened the strings of your intuition. You have cleared out the dust of old beliefs. And now, when someone tries to play a hollow, out of tune, unconscious chord around you, it vibrates painfully against your newly tuned strings. You are realizing that what you used to call connection was often just proximity. You were near people. You shared physical space, but you were not truly seen, and you were not truly known. Your hunger is no longer for mere company, it is for profound resonance. You crave conversations that pull the spirit forward. You want to talk about the silent spaces between thoughts, the beautiful lessons hidden in our deepest pain, and the quiet, terrifying dreams that keep us awake at night. This internal shift is the death of your tolerance for the mundane. It is the uncompromising demand of your own evolving consciousness to only engage in exchanges that bring light, truth, and genuine life. The emptiness you feel in those old conversations is simply the hollow space where your old self used to reside. You have completely outgrown the room. Let us talk about the room. You know the exact room. The family dinner table, the gathering of old friends, the workplace break room. You walk in, and the air instantly feels dense, thick, heavy. You have not said a single word yet, but the friction is already vibrating against your skin. You can feel the silent, shifting currents in the space. They feel it too. They cannot name it. They cannot articulate it. But they know something fundamental has shifted. You have disrupted the ecosystem. For years, you played a very specific role in their lives. You were the listener, the peacekeeper, the sounding board for their endless complaints, the reliable anchor in their chaotic, repetitive dramas. You were a fixed, predictable point on their map. But now, that point has moved. You have moved. And by simply existing in this new, grounded state of self-awareness, you have unintentionally shattered their comfortable reality. Listen to the words they use. You have changed. They say it with a subtle edge. Do they not? They say it as if it is an accusation, a failure on your part, rather than the magnificent, hard-won victory it truly is. When they look at you and say you have changed, what they are really saying is, you are no longer conforming to the version of you that was convenient for me. You are no longer playing the game. Understand this deeply. Their reaction is not actually about you. It is about the mirror you have become. When you stand quietly in your truth, refusing to engage in the old, low-frequency loops of gossip, judgment, and complaint, your silence becomes a glaring reflection of their own stagnation. Your inner peace illuminates their inner chaos. Your light casts their unresolved shadows into sharp relief. This is why the social friction feels so intense, so palpable. They are not plotting against you. Their nervous systems are simply reacting to the sudden loss of a familiar dynamic. When you stop participating in the superficial dance, it forces them to feel the awkward, echoing silence of their own unexamined lives. And people will do absolutely anything to avoid sitting in that silence. So, the resistance begins. You will notice the subtle, almost invisible attempts to drag you back down to their frequency. A casual remark meant to spark an old argument. A dramatic, emotionally charged story designed to pull on your old, people-pleasing heartstrings. A passive-aggressive comment meant to make you doubt your new boundaries. It feels like tiny, invisible hooks being cast out into the water, desperately trying to catch on to any remaining insecurity inside of you. Notice how your body physically reacts to this resistance. Your shoulders might tense, your chest might tighten, as the old muscle memory of appeasement tries to activate. Breathe through it. That physical sensation is just an echo of the past. Let the heavy, frantic energy of their confusion wash right past you. You are no longer a sponge absorbing the emotional debris of the room. You are a mirror, solid and clear. Here is your ultimate, undeniable power. You do not have to bite. You do not have to catch the hook. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your spiritual and emotional growth. You do not need to defend your peace, argue your perspective, or justify why the old conversations feel so profoundly empty to you now. Your only job is to stand firm in your new center of gravity. Feel the incredible strength in your silence. When someone tries to draw you into a superficial debate, let the words fall flat to the floor. Watch how your refusal to react starves the old dynamic of its oxygen. It is a quiet, monumental act of rebellion. You are actively choosing not to abandon yourself just to make someone else feel comfortable. Yes, the friction is painful. It hurts to look at people you have loved for a lifetime and realize the bridge between you has burned away. It brings a profound, aching grief to sit in a room full of familiar faces and feel like a complete stranger. Allow yourself to mourn that loss. But do not ever mistake that grief for a signal to turn back. The friction is the undeniable proof of your expansion. It is the sound of you breaking the mold. You are operating on a different frequency now, a clearer, more resonant vibration. And as you hold that frequency, the friction will eventually fade, leaving behind only the undeniable, unshakable truth of who you have finally become. So here you are. You have walked out of the shallow water. You have detached from the endless, draining loops of superficial connection. You have set your boundaries and stood firm in your new truth. And now, you find yourself completely, utterly alone. Welcome to the void. Welcome to the hallway of transition. This is the phase no one warns you about when you begin the journey of self-discovery. They talk about the light, the peace, the beautiful awakenings. They rarely talk about the deafening silence of a Saturday night when your phone simply does not ring. They do not talk about the phantom limb syndrome of old friendships, that sudden, physical urge to text someone a piece of news, followed instantly by the heavy, sinking realization that they are no longer a part of your life. You sit in your room, surrounded by quiet walls, and the isolation feels absolute. In this empty space, your mind will try to play terrifying tricks on you. The human brain is hardwired for tribal connection. It equates isolation with danger. So, when you enter the void, the panic alarms begin to sound. The inner critic gets incredibly loud. It whispers insidious doubts into your ear. Did you make a mistake? Are you just becoming cold and bitter? Maybe you should just compromise. Maybe you should just reach out and apologize. Just to have someone to talk to. You will feel a profound, aching grief in the center of your chest. It is a physical weight, a longing for the comfort of the familiar, even if the familiar was toxic. Let me validate exactly what you are feeling right now. This loneliness is devastating. It is a harsh, biting wind against your skin. It takes immense, almost unimaginable courage to stand in the center of this emptiness and not run backward to the safety of what you have outgrown. But you must understand the true, grounded reality of what this void actually is. This is not a punishment. This is not a sign that you are broken or destined to be isolated forever. This is a profound, necessary psychological detox. Think about it. For years, your nervous system was adapted to chaos, appeasement, and low-level stress. Your biological rhythms were tuned to the frequency of superficial drama and people-pleasing. Now that you have removed those stimuli, your system is going through withdrawals. The silence feels uncomfortable because your brain is detoxing from the constant draining noise of your old environment. This empty phase is an incubation period. It is the required bridge between the life you are leaving and the life that is waiting for you. If you were to immediately jump into a new social circle right now, you would subconsciously recreate the exact same dynamics you just escaped. You would carry the old programming, the old insecurities, and the old masks right into the new relationships. The void is here to burn away the remaining attachments. It forces you to sit with yourself until your own presence becomes enough. It demands that you build a home inside your own mind so sturdy, so peaceful, that you will never again accept a poorly built connection just to avoid being outdoors. You are literally creating space. You cannot pour fresh, clear spring water into a glass that is still half full of mud. You have to empty the glass completely. You have to clean it out. Right now, you are the empty glass. The emptiness is not a void of absence. It is a void of pure, unadulterated potential. Do not rush this. Do not abandon yourself in the hallway just because you cannot see the next door yet. Breathe into the quiet. Let your nervous system recalibrate to this beautiful, profound stillness. You are transitioning from the agonizing pain of loneliness into the supreme power of solitude. Hold your ground. The space you are clearing right now is exactly where your true, aligned community will eventually take root. You have sat in the quiet. You have let the old attachments burn away in the stillness of the void. Now, the time for total isolation is naturally coming to an end. But hear this clearly, you are not stepping back into the world as the person you used to be. You are stepping forward as the conscious, deliberate architect of your own peace. The world out there will still be loud. The superficial conversations, the trivial dramas, the endless looping complaints, they will all still exist. The fundamental difference is that you are no longer a victim to them. You are no longer required to participate. Let us talk about practical application. Let us talk about the absolute necessity of boundaries. A boundary is not a hostile wall built out of anger. It is a clear, luminous line drawn out of profound, uncompromising self-respect. When you inevitably find yourself back in those familiar environments, the obligatory family dinners, the workplace gatherings, the encounters with old social circles, you must practice the high art of loving detachment. You do not need to announce your departure from their drama. You do not need to deliver a speech about your new awareness. You simply stop feeding the machine. When the conversation turns to petty gossip, you remain completely silent. When they try to cast those invisible hooks to bait you into an old, exhausting argument, you offer a calm, emotionally flat response. That is an interesting perspective. I see it differently. But I understand. And you leave it exactly there. Watch how quickly the dense energy in the room shifts when you refuse to play the game. You are starving the old dynamics of the vital oxygen they desperately need to survive. Before you walk into any space that you know carries a heavy, stagnant frequency, you must physically and mentally ground yourself. Feel the actual weight of your feet flat on the floor. Take a long, slow breath deep into your stomach. Remind your nervous system that you are safe, that you are sovereign, and that absolutely no one has access to your internal peace without your explicit, conscious permission. You are the sole, fierce guardian of your energy. If a conversation begins to feel empty, draining, or toxic, give yourself the radical, immediate permission to simply walk away. Go to another room. Step outside to feel the wind on your face. You owe no one your precious life force. As you hold these unyielding boundaries, a beautiful, miraculous thing begins to happen. That massive, empty space you cleared during your time in the void begins to fill. But this time, it fills with profound intention. You will start to attract people who actually speak your new language. But to find them, you must be willing to be seen. You must let your authentic frequency shine like a lighthouse cutting through the fog. Speak your truth quietly but firmly. Share your deeper thoughts, your genuine passions, and your real vulnerabilities when you feel safe to do so. The people who are meant to walk this next elevated chapter with you will hear that specific frequency. They will recognize the profound depth in your voice because they carry that exact same depth within their own chests. You will find your true community not by shrinking to fit in, but by being so undeniably, powerfully yourself that your real people cannot help but find you. The conversations will no longer drain you. They will feed you. They will feel like a long, cool drink of water after years of wandering in a desert. Let us seal this energy right now, wherever you are. Take a deep, slow breath in. Fill your lungs completely. Hold it right at the top. Now, release it, letting go of every ounce of tension in your shoulders. Listen to these words and let them imprint permanently onto your subconscious mind. I completely release the need to be understood by those who are committed to misunderstanding me. I honor the profound, beautiful shift within my own heart. I forgive myself for outgrowing the spaces and the people that used to hold me. I am no longer available for superficial, draining connections. I am deeply grounded. I am sovereign, and I fiercely protect my peace. I trust the space I have created, and I trust that my true, authentic community is making its way to me right now. You are not alone on this path. You never were. If you felt the undeniable truth in these words today, if your nervous system recognized this message as home, do not walk away without claiming it. Hit the subscribe button right now to join this gathering of deep, intentional seekers. We are building a new reality here, far away from the shallow waters, and to permanently seal this frequency into your life today. Go down to the comments right now and type these exact words. I am the guardian of my peace. Type it. Claim your power. And let it be so. Stay grounded. Stay fiercely authentic. And never, ever apologize for the depth of your transformation.